What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be going over some new villains that could potentially appear on The Flash Season 7 or in future seasons. But before we get started, make sure that you guys like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment any other video ideas for me. Now again, I've sort of already made this video, however that one was mainly focused on new speedster villains that could come to the show, but I wanted to go over some new villains that may not necessarily be speedster villains, and if I do happen to go over any other speedster villains in this video, I didn't go over them in my last video in regards to new speedster villains. So yeah, let's get right into it. So anyways, the first villain that I want to go over is Cobalt Blue. Now in the comics, he is related to Barry, but also he is related to Eobard Thawne, aka the Reverse Flash. Now in the comics, his name is Malcolm Thawne, and this is why people really thought that Eddie Thawne could end up being Cobalt Blue at some time on the show. Obviously, there's also the theory that Eddie Thawne is going to be the new Godspeed, but I definitely think he would work better as being Cobalt Blue. Obviously, because Cobalt Blue's real name is Malcolm Thawne. Now, obviously, we have never seen a Malcolm Thawne in the Arrowverse, so I think Eddie Thawne could definitely take the place of Malcolm Thawne and become Cobalt Blue somehow. I definitely think that'd be pretty cool to see. And get this, also in the comics, Malcolm Thawne is a detective at the Central City Police Department, as was Eddie Thawne. So I definitely think if he ended up being Cobalt Blue, if they ended up, saying some huge storylines been happening ever since season 1 when Eddie quote-unquote died. And if they do end up doing Cobalt Blue on the show being Eddie Thawne, I definitely think that they might not go the Earth 1 version of Eddie. Maybe they could say like an alternate version of Eddie, like survived Crisis and came to Earth Prime and then became Cobalt Blue, maybe Reverse Flash, turn him into a villain, something like that. That was one of my theories with Godspeed, is that Reverse Flash like took Eddie Thawne and like turned him into a villain or something along the lines of that. So I definitely think that could also happen with Cobalt Blue. I think Cobalt Blue could also set up for a really good storyline on the show. It could be like, oh look, Eddie's alive, how is this possible, all that stuff, but then eventually he becomes a villain. It kind of reminds me of back in Arrow Season 5, when Earth 2 Laurel Lance was playing as Earth 1 Laurel Lance, and tricked all of Team Arrow saying, oh look, Laurel's back, all that stuff, but then she ends up being a villain, being Black Siren. So I definitely think that something along the lines of that with Cobalt Blue, maybe like the Flash Season 8 or 9, I think that'd be really cool to see. Now, the next villain that I think could appear is Ted Kord, aka Blue Beetle. Now, obviously, in the comics, Blue Beetle really isn't a villain at all. He's more of a hero, anti-hero type of character. However, there is a storyline in the comics where he does become a villain called Scarab. Now, Ted Kord's existence in the Arrowverse has been confirmed multiple times, not just with Kord Industries being a thing, but with Ramsey Rosso saying that he got some dark matter from Ted Kord back in Season 6. So unless Ted Kord has somehow died between then and now, Ted Kord is currently alive in the Arrowverse. And speaking of Bloodwork, aka Ramsey Rosso, I definitely think that Blue Beetle, Ted Kord, I definitely think that he could end up being a very similar villain to him. Maybe like Team Flash meets a new scientist, like they recently met Ramsey Rosso back in Season 6. They met a new scientist named Ted Kord, and he's like trying to help all this stuff, but then he eventually becomes a villain called Blue Beetle. I definitely think that if he were to appear as a villain on the show, they wouldn't use the name Scarab from the comics. I feel like they would definitely still go with Blue Beetle as a villain. I know he was a sort of like an anti-hero back in Smallville, so I definitely think that he could do the same thing on the show if he does end up appearing. But he has been teased, I'm pretty sure, since Arrow Season 1, and he has not yet appeared, so it'll be pretty interesting if he actually does end up appearing. But I think that if he does, he could also just be like, sort of like that half of a season villain, sort of like Bloodwork was. I really wish Bloodwork was like a full-length season villain. That would have been awesome to see. But yeah, Blue Beetle appearing as a villain would definitely probably be a first half or second half type of villain. And then the last villain that I think should definitely appear on The Flash at some point is, of course, Red Death. Now, I did not go over Red Death in my last video, or my last video on this topic, I should say. So, obviously, Red Death has been teased since Season 5, and we've really been looking forward to him, but he just has not been able to show up. But I'm thinking, like, if he does appear, it'll be Flash Season 8, Flash Season 9, something like that. Obviously, he most likely will not appear in The Flash Season 7, unless it's like a cliffhanger or something like that. But in the comics, Red Death is a merge between Barry Allen and Bruce Wayne. It's like an evil merge between the two. However, if they were going to create Red Death on the show, obviously they can't use Bruce Wayne. They can't really use Barry. They could use Barry Allen. However, I don't think they will. I think if they end up doing him, I think the two characters that will merge together would be Reverse Flash and Bloodwork. You know, the speedster character, and then you have like the villain to put it all together. I definitely think that could be possible if Red Death ends up appearing at any time during the Flash. But anyways, I'd say that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to comment your thoughts on this video down below, as well as what other villains you think could appear during the Flash at some point, whether it be Season 7, Season 8, Season 9, or even Season 10 if that ends up happening. Also, comment down below some other video ideas that you might have for me. I'm really interested to see what you guys have. Comment more theories, more concept trailers you might want me to do, more rankings. I'm definitely going to start doing the rankings and all that other stuff now that the Flash is on break. So make sure you guys comment more of those suggestions below, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.